Eva. Today I wanted to share with you a couple books, more than a couple books, 5 really good books. Manuals, some might call them, some are more book-like. I'm not going to say that all of them are super fun reads, but all of them are definitely very informative and very helpful. I'm going to start with one that we would not call a manual, but we would call a book, and it's Tools of Titans by Tim Ferris. It is a long book. This is actually my second copy of it because I accidentally forgot a copy in British Columbia and then flew back to Alberta, and my book was left there and I never got it back, so I had to buy a second copy. I bought it for $40. It might be less now. What this book essentially goes through is interviews with people who are successful in all different categories of life. People who are successful personally, a lot who are very successful in their own businesses, a lot of them are people who started their own companies and things like that. A lot of the interviews include how people deal with the incredible amount of stress that their jobs provide for them. And that's just their work stress, never mind all the other stress in life. And there's a lot of patterns you'll find in how successful people deal with their lives and how they set up their lives. And the amount of time they devote to personal growth, to sustaining healthy lifestyles, and to things like that. So I would really recommend this as a motivational book, as an inspirational book, as a research project, as to how you can help better your own life. Just a recommendation. It is a little expensive, and there is an interesting thing about this book I haven't covered yet. When you open it up, it tells you, don't try to read this like a storybook. Just skim through, and when something catches your eye, read it. And at first I was like, whatever, I'm just going to read it like a novel. And I really hated reading it. Not often I say that. Really didn't like reading it that way. So then I was like, well, maybe I should just do what the author of the book told me to do. And I started skimming through, and I'd find a word would catch your eye, and you go, yeah, I want to read about that. And then you'd realize you've now read like 9 different things that were disconnected from that, but it led in very comfortably, and you just... It's a good book. I recommend it. This next book might seem like a very specific book, like for only a very specific amount of people. I would disagree. It's Save the Cat. This book is by Snyder. No, I did not remember his name. I had to look down. It is a screenwriting book, and it's not a screenwriting book in the way that it's very technically driven. It's written more like a narrative, and the author has a very strong voice. And I don't think it just covers screenwriting. Personally, when I read it, I see a lot of life skills, a lot of creative skills in general, a lot of business management, a lot of life management, I see a lot more in this book than how to write a screenplay. It's not an overly large book, as you see. One that you can sit down and read like a novel, even though it is obviously a lot of technical jargon. But you can just kind of sit down and enjoy reading this book. It was $21 Canadian. I thought one of the coolest things about this was just the way the author's voice came through in a way where it felt familiar. Like my friend was giving me advice, and it was really... I'm not saying you have to read this book, but if you have any interest in creative fields, and especially if you're interested in film, I would 100% recommend this to you. It's a fantastic book. This next book is probably the least kind of generic of all of them. It is the digital photography book. It is written by Kelby. Once again, don't remember the author's name. Maybe. It's not a book I recommend often because most people I know are not really heavy into photography or into camera work. I don't know if you noticed, but I do a lot of things on camera. I often do some of them pretty sloppily, but I did go to college for graphic design and photography, and this was on the reading list there, and there's a reason why. It's a really good book for camera work. One of the best sections of this book is how to nail wedding photography. There's no reshoots at a wedding. There is no, oh wait, I didn't get that. Could you cry again? Like you can't manufacture moments in a wedding. Event photography, you have to be in and out and sneaky and a shadow. How to be present, how to do the events, how to be professional, how to run yourself as a photographer. It's a good book. The next one has a hilarious title. It was also a book I had to get in college. It's How to Be a Graphic Designer Without Losing Your Soul. I cannot pronounce the author's name, but his first name is Adrian. The last name is Shaughnessy. I'm just going to put all the books in the description below. How does that sound? So this is a very technical book. It's even laid out in a way that's kind of uncomfortable to read, to be honest with you. I to this day don't understand why he did this. but he did. Every chapter has this odd spacing in it. Okay, essentially, if you work in any creative field, this book will help. It'll help you with client relations, with company relations, with your own boss, becoming your own boss, understanding the market away from your individual market. Like, it's just a very technical book that's very good at promoting the things that you should know. College. I found myself very downtrodden reading this because I tend to read it in moments of like unemployment. When you feel like you can't do anything right, and I read it and I feel a little downtrodden at first, and then the next day I'm like, go use those tactics. So just be aware that it's not written by a friend, it's written by a professional. If you are looking for heartwarming advice, it's not here. This is cold hard facts. The last book on our list is one I think everyone in my country should own. Everyone should own this, but it has to be the right one for your country for it to be legally binding. What I'm talking about is the Occupational Health and Safety. This is the Acts, Regulations, and Codes. This is legal. This is a book of laws that can be enforced by an agency that's federally run in your country. What this book allows you to do is be educated of your rights, but not just your rights, the rights of everybody in your workplace. It also teaches you a lot about all the terrible things that your employer is trying to get you to do that is illegal, that you 100% not only have the right to refuse, but we now say the obligation to refuse, because that's the new stance that our occupational health and safety has. Not just that you should say no, you have to say no. And if you don't know what to say no to, you can be pushed into incredibly dangerous situations because you didn't know any better. I think everyone should have a copy of these. And one of the best things about this book is when you pull it out in front of an employer and say, this isn't okay, and I can prove it, the conversation's over. You've won. It's not going to happen. This act is not safe. You know it. I know it. This is over. That might seem hard. That might seem really difficult to say to your boss. It's your life on the line. You can replace a ladder. You can fix whatever it is that is causing danger. You cannot replace a human life. So this is a very important book. Now, the reason that I'm talking about employers taking advantage and people not knowing any better is because I, like many people when I entered the workforce, didn't know my rights as a worker. My employer told me to do something that was really dangerous with broken equipment on top of a bunch of glass. And I said I didn't feel safe doing it. The equipment that they wanted me to use is broken. I said, I really don't want to do this. It doesn't seem safe. And they turned around and went, well, you're the youngest person here. You're the most fit. You have to do it. And when your boss says you have to, and you are under the age of 16, that means you have to do it. And when I got home, I told my dad, of whom has been using this book since it's being created, because he's been in a workforce where this is something they talk about every day. I told him what had happened, and he looked at me and went, well, that's against the law. And I went, well, I mean, is it? And he went, yeah. And he pulled out an OH&S book and showed me that it was against the law and told me what to say in order to show my employer that I knew my rights for the future. When I went into work and I told my employer about which code, I had it written down on my hand, like part 27-6, whatever. And she brought it up and she went, oh, okay. And by the end of the week, we had that equipment replaced so that people could do the job safely. All it took was somebody saying, no, here's the law, and this is on you, and you can't force us to put our lives at risk for you. I can't even count the amount of times that people have been in my house and they're complaining about something at work, and I go, well, just give me a second here, I'm pretty sure that's illegal. And we'd open the book and they go, oh my God, that's illegal. I go, yeah, well, go talk to your employer. You can get an app of this, by the way. You can just pull it up on your phone and be like, no. Yeah, okay, I've gone on long enough about this. I think it's very important that people are aware of their rights and that they have access to the information. Well, the first 4 books were pretty fun, and the last one is just to ensure that your company and your employer don't screw you over. If you guys have read any of the books I'm talking about, or if you own a copy of this, let me know down in the comments. And if you have any recommendations for me as to new books I should read, I would love to know about them so that I can go buy them on a discounted website like Thrift Books. I bought a couple books on Thrift Books the other week. I think they were like less than $4 a piece. Shipping was like under $10, and in the end I saved, I think, like $32 on a couple of books, so that's pretty cool. Okay, well, I'm Eva. If you guys like this video, please hit like, comment down below, and hit subscribe so I can see you guys next time.